Gospel according to John. The first day of the week, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb early in the morning while it was still dark, and saw the stone removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved, and told them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him." Mary stayed outside the tomb weeping. And as she wept, she bent over into the tomb and saw two angels in white sitting there, one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "They have taken my Lord, and I do not know where they laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus there, but did not know it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" She thought it was the gardener and said to him, "Sir, if you carried him away, tell me where you laid him, and I will take him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Stop holding on to me, for I am not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and tell them, I am going to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and then reported what he told her. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So today is the feast of Saint Mary Magdalene. We know from the scriptures, from the Gospel of Mark, that Mary had 7 demons. And that's what the scriptures specifically say about her, but there's lots of other traditions about Mary Magdalene. Some church traditions, by church tradition I don't mean teachings of the church, I mean writings of some of the early church fathers and early church historians. They say that St. Mary Magdalene was actually the woman who was caught in adultery in the Gospel of John. Other traditions say that St. Mary Magdalene was was the sister of Martha and Lazarus. And so when Lazarus was raised from the dead, it was Mary Magdalene's brother. So there's lots of different traditions. It's something very fascinating, that in our modern age we're losing a lot of this, because ever since the time of the Protestant Reformation there's been a great prejudice towards anything that is not explicitly stated in the scriptures. Like, for example, with Lazarus, there's also a tradition that he became a bishop later on. So there's all sorts of traditions about people mentioned in the scriptures that many of us are not familiar with, because, like I said, ever since the time of the Protestant Reformation, there's been a prejudice against those things. And so now even in Catholic books and sources, whenever people describe things like that, they're always called legends, or traditions. But there are those traditions about St. Mary Magdalene. On her feast day today, we hear from the Song of Songs. And this reading from the Song of Songs is all about the bride looking for her husband, looking for the one for whom her heart longs. And the church has always read this story of the Song of Songs as basically a symbol of our soul's longing for God. And we know this from our experience, that our life here on earth, in many ways, it is a constant searching and unfulfilling of desire. That all of us have, it's almost like we have an endless desire in us, and we're constantly searching things that leave us actually unsatisfied. The fact that, when I play guitar and I'm trying to learn a new song, it's like as soon as I learn the song, all of a sudden I'm bored with it. Or sometimes when we have like a craving for food or something like that, it's like as soon as we finish eating, it's like the desire has gone away, leaving us unfulfilled in a certain way. Oftentimes when we're with friends or with our spouse or something like that, we can find ourselves missing that person so much, and then when we're together, it's almost like It's a letdown in some ways. Our hearts are made in this way, that we are filled with this infinite desire, and yet it never quite gets filled completely in this life. And it's because our hearts were made for God. And that's really one way to think about prayer. That prayer is not just time that we spend talking to God or seeking guidance. It is the time that God fills us up. Those deepest parts of our soul that long for Him. And one of the reasons why the church gives this reading on the Feast of St. Mary Magdalene is because St. Mary Magdalene is such a good example. She refused to leave the tomb of the Lord. So much did she desire and seek Him. And that's an example for all of us. That's really what prayer is. It is a waiting and seeking of the Lord, begging for Him to come into our hearts and into our souls and fill those deepest parts of ourselves with His very presence.